It's Purple Daily on Score North and ScoreNorth.com.
And this is something that teams have really known was coming. They have been waiting for the Vikings to release Kyle Rudolph. It saves the Vikings $5 million in cap, $8 million in cash at 31. Really no surprise, but he's going to have serious interest. It's not a deep tight end free agent pool. I wouldn't be surprised if Kyle Rudolph is snapped up pretty quickly.
All right. Mackie and Judd, Purple Daily, executive producer Declan Goff on the buttons, or the ones and twos, as our old friend Rami Makloff would say.
Never really understood that.
Bow, bow, bow. It
The
just
ones and
means
twos, like the.
I'm the DJ. I'm
I know.
making sure.
Yeah, I understand.
You tell me at First Ave you didn't go to any like bebopping 80s,
Bebopping 80s Judd.
Bebopping what?
Judd,
You never went to a
feel me?
Cyndi Lauper concert at First Ave?
I went to
back in the day?
concerts. I didn't know that it was called the ones and the twos.
Well, you've never been a DJ.
Yeah,
DJ Dex, DJ
Right.
P-Mac over here,
that's right.
DJ Jazzy Judd.
I was
So
going to say I got a name for it.
that Kyle Rudolph clip, we will get to later in this episode of Purple Daily. We're going to get to drama. Is it cynicism? Something really interesting that has come out of the Kyle Rudolph, release by the Vikings and his subsequent letter. Something very interesting we'll get to. But first, predictions. We are the only show in America that actually makes predictions, holds each other accountable, shines a light on our terrible predictions. And this Write That Down session is powered by Corona Hard Seltzer, Declan Goff.
Oh, yes,
What
it
does
is.
an executive producer usually go to when he's needing to be hydrated during the week?
Typically it's the blackberry lime. I made my thoughts known on that, but the weather's warming up here in Minnesota. It's 50 degrees. Yesterday, I maybe poured a couple mango hard seltzers into a blender ball, and because you can't tell what I'm drinking, and went a nice little stroll around Minneapolis yesterday.
Into a what?
I poured a couple Corona hard seltzers,
Okay, which is great.
mango, into my little clear ball, my blender ball. It's like a little mix that you can put water, Gatorade, or protein, or for me, Corona hard seltzer in. And I went on my stroll around Minneapolis, around the Stone Arch, and through Boom Island. It was a nice.
Did you say
walk.
blunderball?
Blender ball?
Yeah,
Blender ball.
It's like you shake it up and right.
It's an Oasis song.
Yeah.
You ever put a little scoop of protein in there too with the mango Corona Hard Seltzer?
What do you mean?
Get your swole on?
It's 2 cans of mango Corona Hard Seltzer. That's enough protein for this body that is my temple. So it's great.
I hope there's a restroom on this walk.
No, I'm good. I believe it or not, despite my frail size, I have the bladder of a horse. I can hold it forever.
Because you sure don't have the stomach of one.
No, I do not. Corona Hard Seltzer.
Never seen a young man race to the bathroom as much as you do.
That's
It's like being an old folks home.
That's the other reasons I don't want to get in.
I gotta
go. Bye-bye.
Declan, it's the morning time.
The Corona Hard Seltzer is the only hard seltzer made with pure beach vibes, with a refreshing splash of fruit flavors such as tropical lime, mango, cherry, and blackberry lime. Corona Hard Seltzer is a tasty spiked sparkling water with a splash of natural fruit flavor that allows you to enjoy the moment. In each can, Corona Hard Seltzer has 0 carbs, 0 sugar, 90 calories, and is gluten-free. Relax responsibly. Corona Hard Seltzer spiked sparkling water with natural flavors. Imported by Crown Imports, Chicago, Illinois.
Most make predictions and then never admit they're wrong. Yeah, that's not Mackie and Judd. This is the place where we just totally own our horrible predictions. Write this down. And eat them for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. Write that down. It's Write That Down. Write it down. You like writing things down. With Mackie and Judd.
All right, let me load this in here for y'all. This is Write That Down. We have expanded the franchise. If you're not familiar with our other show that we do every day, it's called Mackie and Judd. We have a classic edition of Write That Down that goes back about 5 or 6 years. On this edition, which we just launched in the early part of 2021, 3 Vikings or football-related predictions from everybody each week. They must be quantifiable. We keep track of completion percentage and touchdowns. If you want to be part of the show, you want to be a guest listener predictor, you can send a DM to me at Phil Mackey or at Dex's Tweets on Twitter. We have open DMs, and we will get you in as part of the show. All right. We all pumped up for this? We're going to get our guy in here, Chris, in just a second. Judge Zulgad has been leading the completion percentage battle to this point. I've been leading the touchdown pass
you said
battle.
that in past tense. I feel like it might be over.
To this point. We'll see.
To this point.
If it holds up.
Okay.
And you had nothing come off the board.
So both episodes.
Yep. Nothing.
I'll write that down. I have nothing come off the board.
Yeah.
A lot of long-term punting the ball down the field. Just trying to put off.
Field position game.
Yep.
Why don't you go ahead and just call me boring?
Ooh, I had a couple things come off the board. Some low-hanging fruit. I said Kyle Rudolph will be cut before training camp.
Yeah.
Plenty of time to spare. And I said prior to April, the Vikings will either cut, restructure, or trade Riley Reif, Kyle Rudolph, or Harrison Smith.
Yeah.
So
I've
doubled up on that one.
My lead is in jeopardy. Okay.
We'll see.
Yeah, I think it's in jeopardy.
Listeners had nothing come off the board, and Declan had nothing come off the
That's
board.
nice.
And so because, we haven't built up a huge database of predictions, we've only been doing this on Purple Daily for like 2 months. More things will start to come off the board as we get through like free agency and the draft, etc.
Yep.
So in place of that, I thought it'd be fun once again to bring some predictions that are still on the board to the show, either on this show or on Mackie and Judd. Like Judd saying, remember last week, Judd said Aaron Rodgers' new celebrity girlfriend or fiance, is it pronounced Shailene Woodley?
Yep, Shailene Woodley.
That she
Great
will
gal.
never actually get married to Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah.
I love that prediction.
I'm standing by that.
I love
too.
that prediction.
Standing by that.
Yeah. Woodley,
It will not
I'm a
happen.
big fan of Woodley. Big Little Lies, great show. And I just think Aaron Rodgers has some other things going on in his life that is going to prevent him from getting married to her.
A lot seems to have happened very quickly there. It just seems very fishy. I don't know.
Yep.
We'll see.
Yep.
Hopefully, if they do get married, she likes the Twin Cities in 2022 or
I bet she
23,
would.
though, because that'd be a
She
great
can
place for
commute
temporary
from
residence.
California to here to see him and then go home.
We'll hang out.
Declan, you were on the record saying the Vikings will acquire a second-round pick in the draft.
Yep.
They'd have to trade something of value to get that, either a Cousins or something else. You still feeling good about that one?
I am. I feel really good about that, actually.
Or they could trade up,
Sure.
while the draft's happening.
I feel like he's right.
I predicted 5 years ago on Mackie and Judd that the Vikings will win a Super Bowl under Mike Zimmer.
How do you feel about that
Still
now?
on the board.
How do you feel about that one?
About the same as I did 5 years ago. Just kind of, they're good, not great. They could maybe win a playoff game, but probably not 4 of them. That's sort of how I feel.
Okay.
That's the other underrated thing, because we talk so much about how can the Vikings get back to 10 or 11 wins. Well, I know that there are 10 or 11 win teams that win the Super Bowl from time to time, but like your best path if you're the Vikings is to win like 13 or 14 games at some point and get a home field advantage situation.
Yep.
Let's set the bar higher with our expectations. And brother Liam, he predicted that by December 31st this year, Declan will be in a Facebook official relationship.
Mm-hmm.
How do you feel about the possibility of that happening?
I mean, I feel about the same as I did when he predicted it.
What are the odds right now?
Probably plus 350.
Okay.
Plus 350.
It's like 3.5 to 1 kind of a deal.
So if you put down $100, you win 350. I'm not gonna don't make me the banker there, please.
Wouldn't
I'm
be
not
a huge upset.
No, it wouldn't be a huge upset. But it's definitely something that I'm a home dog here. I'm a little home dog here. The odds are still in my favor. I think I'm.
Are the odds more that geared towards it happening, Declan, or more geared towards there's a good chance that the potential relationship as we talk right now might be toast by New Year's Eve?
I don't think it's going to be toast, pun intended. I don't think there will be. I don't think the relationship will be toast. I think it's trending. I think the ball is being moved down the field, though.
Okay, you're matriculating the ball down the field.
I started
with your scripted plays.
There was a touchback. There was a first down, and now we're marching on the field.
Okay,
but it could be friends too,
or it could be another punt. Yes.
Like, I feel like you like to keep
midfield.
people around as friends and not have things go awry.
Yeah, sometimes.
Sometimes they give. No, I mean, you get punted yourself.
I can confidently say if it's at midfield, I will be going for it on 4th down, though. So I will not punt on 3rd and long.
She on Twitter?
I would ask permission before I go for it on 4th down, okay? And
is she on Twitter?
No, there's no.
Because I really would like her to be. So if it does go south, I'd really like to see her react.
This person might even actually, unfortunately, be a Packer fan. So
that's perfect for you.
Yeah, it is.
That's going to be tough.
You're a Packer fan.
So here are the season stats. Judd Zolgad with a narrow completion percentage lead at 44%.
Oh, my leads are dwindling.
No touchdowns. I'm at 42%.
And three touchdowns. Boy, you're looking good.
Declan at 33%, no touchdowns. Listeners have not yet gotten on the board in either of these categories. So maybe Chris can change that with his predictions this week. He is our guest listener predictor. What's up, Chris? Welcome to Purple Daily.
Hey, it's a pleasure to be here, guys.
So you're rocking the Harry the Hitman jersey. Are you going to throw the ball down the field, or are you going to throw some checkdowns and just try and get the listeners on the board?
Listen, I'm all for going down the field. I am throwing it deep, 60 yards plus down the field, play action pass. Hopefully Justin Jefferson next year. No touchdowns, then we ain't going off the field.
All right. So some people in the YouTube comments are complaining that every time a listener comes on, they just want to throw the ball down the field, and that's why they haven't completed a pass. But I like that strategy personally. It's more fun. So we'll do this. We're going to start with Chris, and then we're going to go Judd, Declan, back to me, Phil. We'll make 3 trips around the room. Your predictions must be quantifiable, And let's kick it off here with Chris. What's your first
Write it
prediction?
down. You like writing things down.
All right, so I got 2 predictions for the Vikings and 1 for football world in general. So I'm going to start off with the Vikings one. So in 2021, the Minnesota Vikings offense will rank top 5 in passing yards, top 5 in passing touchdowns, and rushing touchdowns.
Wow. So a high-powered offensive attack. So top 5 in passing yards, top 5 in passing touchdowns, and top 5 in rushing touchdowns.
Yes.
Wow.
That's interesting.
Mm-hmm. Well,
that's a prolific offense.
They were knocking on the door like overall yardage. They were like 4th in the league.
But are they going to pass that much? Because if they do, it changes the dynamic of this team mightily.
Absolutely.
I'll trust Teddy to throw the ball next year as the starting quarterback.
Write it down. You like writing things down.
Why you got to be like that?
All right, Judd.
Okay, so part 1 of my write that down on Mackie and Judd was that Kyle Rudolph would sign with Seattle. Okay.
Yep.
That was part 1. Now my callback is this for write that down as far as Purple Daily goes. Kyle Rudolph will catch a touchdown pass against the Vikings in 2021.
Oh man.
Kyle Rudolph. So, but I am not saying in this one, Seattle. So Dex, all I'm saying here is Kyle Rudolph will catch a touchdown pass against the Vikings in 2021.
Okay.
All right.
Okay. So
like
I'm
it.
giving this. So like if he goes to Arizona or something like that,
Dude, what if he goes
I've got some leeway.
Could he go to the Packers?
Oh God. Go ahead. I don't care.
I don't know.
I could see him. I could see him going to the Bears. Actually,
Bears.
Ooh.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Ooh, I like that one.
I can
Phil.
see that happening.
I like that one.
I think he'd love 2 cracks at the Vikings. Obviously,
Mhm.
well, we're going to get to some very interesting things about the thing that he wrote on the Players Tribune, but I don't think he hates the Vikings organization because he definitely has.
He wants to show him though.
I think he wants to show him.
He wants to show him he's not done.
Exactly.
Write it down. You like writing
I'm with
things
you.
down.
All right, Dex.
All right, we were talking off mic a little bit about Harrison Smith. So write this down. Harrison Smith's next contract will be worth up to a reported $20 million.
So the total contract.
I don't know if it's the total. Well, maybe. Just
Well, you've got to decide what it is.
The wording
You
is
can't just do that.
The wording is Harrison Smith's next contract will be worth up to a reported $20 million.
Okay.
So I'm not saying
Not
there's
per
20
year.
guaranteed. I'm not saying it's
Right.
20
You're just
per
saying 20.
year.
It's going to be reported as like.
So if let's say just in theory, let's say it's a 2-year, $20 million. It's a 2-year, $20 million deal with $10 million guaranteed.
Yep.
It counts because
Yes.
it's $20 million.
Yes.
Got it. Okay.
So if we see that, if that is included in the story, you get the points.
Correct.
20 million
Write
or up
this
to 20
down.
million. Okay.
Cool. All right, write this down. The next contractual domino to fall for the Vikings will be Riley Reef. So I don't know if I can be any more clear than that. Like,
I got you.
the next thing that
That's
will
easy.
happen for the Vikings will contractually will be Riley Reef.
Perfect.
So,
Write this down.
all right, back to Chris. Your second prediction.
All right, so this one's not Vikings related. I'm predicting that for the 2021 to 2022 season, this will be the last seasons that Aaron Rodgers, Russell Wilson, and Deshaun Watson will play for their respective teams. So 2022, they will all be on another team.
So this year, so after this year, you're saying, just to help quantify this, by the 2022 week 1, you're saying all 3 of those guys will be on different teams.
Yes, yeah.
Love it. And Aaron Rodgers will be a Viking.
Off the
Make
record.
that. If those other 2 dudes are available, I'd rather have.
I'd take
those guys.
I'd take Deshaun Watson. I'd fall on that sword
Write this
without a
down.
problem.
All right, back to Judd.
All right. Anthony Barr has played his last game as a Viking. Anthony Barr has played his last game as a Viking because the word is that he has balked at restructuring or redoing his contract. And I don't see how you can afford to bring him back if you don't redo that contract.
Yeah, you still, even if you cut him, so you save like $7 million of the cap, you also have to eat a lot of money.
You do. But if he's going to come, but if he says buzz off, I don't think that you can just say, oh, okay, cool.
Yeah.
That's a lot to spend right there. So I think that with the cap coming down, Anthony Barr has played his last game, Declan Goff as a Viking.
All right, over to Declan, your second prediction.
All right, the Vikings will have reported interest in Melvin Ingram by a credible source. So we'll do our 2/3 majority there, credible source, but the Vikings will have reported interest in defensive end Melvin Ingram.
Like it.
Write this down.
All right, write this down. The Vikings' biggest guaranteed money free agent signing will be an offensive player this year. So I'm going with guaranteed money as it's reported, which is almost always way less than like the total contract value. But the most guaranteed money they will drop on a free agent signing this cycle it will be on an offensive player.
Okay.
Off the record, I think it'll be an offensive lineman. I think they're going to spend on like a left guard, even if they have to overpay.
Be careful.
Off the record.
Off the
Write
record.
it down. You like writing things down.
All right,
All right.
off the record.
Back to Chris, your final prediction.
All right. So now this is heavy speculation. Could I ask Declan to give me a soundbite?
I got you, Dex.
Yeah, thank you.
Reckless speculation.
So in the 2022 NFL,
I love when listeners call for their own production.
Yes.
It's the best.
No, it's awesome.
I've been thinking about this for a while. So in the 2022 NFL draft, with heavy pressure from ownership, so from the Wilfs, the Vikings in the first 10 picks will draft a quarterback.
Woo! Which draft again?
2022.
2022, so next year.
Yeah. That makes perfect sense,
So,
actually, too.
it's a parlay, really, if you think about it, because you're predicting that they will somehow either with their record or with a trade pick in the first 10 picks.
Mm-hmm.
This let's say the Vikings finish in the playoffs. This doesn't come off the board until the 10th pick comes off the board in that
Correct.
draft, because they could trade back into the
and then Cousins is gone.
Yep.
or are they put
Top 10 quarterback, I don't think, can sit for a year, right?
Would they eat a $45 million cap hit with Kirk as the backup quarterback in 2022?
The production was awesome, and the prediction is awesome.
Yeah.
I love it. So, Chris, great work. Is there anyone in your life that you'd like to thank that got you to this point as a Purple Daily Write That Down contributor?
So I'd like to thank my buddies Billy, Austin, and Josh for keeping me involved in football talk every day, and then my dad for making me become a Vikings fan. My two biggest memories of him were him screaming at the TV and when Brett Favre threw the interception across the middle, and then when Blair Walsh missed the kick. I thought we were not going to have a TV after those games.
Amazing. Yep. Well, Chris, great work. We'll get you on again sometime, and good luck to your 3 predictions. All right.
Sounds good. Thank you, guys.
All right. That's
Chris.
guest listener
Write it
predictor,
down. You like writing things down.
Chris, and we'll go back to Judd here.
Okay, my last write that down for this Vikings/NFL edition. Joe Thuney will not sign with the Vikings.
Oh, okay, Buzz Killing.
Joe Thuney will not sign with the Minnesota Vikings.
Is usually during the draft, like before COVID, when there were draft parties and stuff, right? Almost every time an offensive guard would be picked, the team's fan base would boo, right? Because it's not sexy.
Oh, here they'd start crying. They'd cry of tears of joy.
There would be a standing
I
ovation.
can't believe you're taking a guard. That's great.
We would have a parade for Joe Thuney coming off the private jet
Yes.
for his visit. All right. And by the way, a guy like Joe Thuney, if I don't know, is Manny's open downtown? I think they're doing some stuff, right?
I think.
That's usually the play where Rick Spielman and company bring the free agents to Manny's.
Yeah, Manny's. Yes.
And they go in the back room and they just spend like $5,000 each on meat and alcohol.
Yeah, Cristal and all that good stuff gets
I
brought
bet
in. Yeah.
Joe Thuney could do some serious damage at Manny's downtown.
Write it down. You like writing things down.
All right, Dex, your final prediction.
All right, final prediction. Sean Mannion will not be the Vikings' active backup on week 1 of the NFL season.
I like it.
Okay.
So I'm implying
the
there
best.
that number 1, I hope to God he just isn't on this team because I would like to see someone else be the backup. Or 2, maybe he's hurt or something and someone else has to be the active backup. But Sean Mannion will not be the Vikings' active backup.
Care
on
to
week
predict
1.
who you think will be the backup?
Probably a rookie.
Mhm.
A rookie.
Or Jake Browning.
Or the Lord and Savior, Jake Browning, a.k.a. Kyle Slater 2.0. Yeah. Congratulations.
All right, final prediction here. Write this down.
Write it down. You like writing things down.
Rudy to the Patriots. Kyle Rudolph
All right.
will sign with the New England Patriots.
Okay.
Whenever that is. No end date needed because he'll sign with somebody. And those are your predictions every single Wednesday, both on Mackie and Judd and on Purple Daily editions of Write That Down. You can find we're the only show that actually holds each other accountable for these. And we have a blast. And we welcome you guys, the listeners, into it. Should we get to I don't know if it's drama or if we're just being cynical. We touched on this for a while on Mackie and Judd.
Well,
it's worth exploring on this show.
It's
too.
not just us, though, because it's there. Or more importantly, it's not there. Like, I don't blame us here.
Right.
This is not reckless speculation that we picked out of thin air.
No, in fact, it's sitting right in front. This article's been out for a day.
But what I'm saying is I am not for one second going to fall on the sword of we created this.
So I'll just rip the Band-Aid off here, okay? And if you want to call us Kirk haters, you can call us Kirk haters. But I find it interesting that on the playerstribune.com yesterday, Kyle Rudolph wrote a 2,000-word ode to Minnesota and the Vikings. There's even a whole section of so many people I want to thank. Ownership, people behind the scenes you've never heard of, some coaches, and then he gets into the players and my teammates over the course of 10 years. Obviously, it would be way too long of a list to get into any sort of roll call. But then he gets into a roll call and he lists a bunch of players, including former quarterbacks he played with. There's an ode to Sam Bradford in here. There's an ode to Teddy Bridgewater. There's an ode to Matt Castle.
Greatest guy ever.
Matt Castle.
One of the great human beings ever.
And that's awesome. And I met Matt Castle a couple times. He's a good guy.
Yeah, nice guy.
For sure. 2,000 words.
Boy, he must have thanked every quarterback he ever played with.
0 mentions of Kirk Cousins.
What?
0 mentions of Kirk Cousins in this article. We even did the Control F search to see if we're missing something. And we searched for Kirk. We searched for Cousins. We did the case sensitive thing.
Yep.
We combed through this. That's interesting. I think interesting at best. Like it's interesting.
Yep.
It also just feels like a very intentional slight. Like if you're going to write a 2,000-word ode to your former franchise and all your former teammates and players and stuff, right? The guy that threw you the second most touchdown passes of any quarterback in your career, Christian Ponder being number 1, also omitted disrespectfully from this article.
Which at least made a little more sense.
It's intentional, right? Like you comb through this, other people read through this. Someone probably said to him, hey, you did forget, you named a lot of guys, a lot of former quarterbacks. You did forget to name Kirk. And he probably said, I didn't forget to name Kirk.
Yeah.
I'm good. What do you think of this?
It's intentional 1,000%. So the Vikings put out the release, I believe, late afternoon on Tuesday. All right. Simultaneously, this 2,000-word opus is published. PlayersTribune.com.
It's very well written, by the way.
Yes.
And I thought he did an awesome job with it.
That's not the point. But the point is, this was not a spur of the moment. I've got to write 2,000 quick words. I just got let go. Hold on a second. It's going to be timed up, synced up perfectly to when I get let go. Kyle was clearly told and knew that this was coming, which is absolutely fine. You know what? 10 years in this league to be with one team is an eternity. So it's absolutely great. It's fine. But I figure he's probably spent 2 months working on drafts of this, who he wanted to thank.
Yeah, it's a big
Just
deal.
as importantly, who he didn't want to thank, events that he was citing that happened during the course of his time with the Vikings, all of those things, okay? I think you're right. I think that he was probably told at some point in time, hey, I've read through this a couple times for you, Kyle. There's no mention of Kirk Cousins. That seems odd. And Kyle said, yeah, you're right. There's not. And that's fine. So to act for 1 second like it's an oversight, to act like it means nothing, who cares, when he is thanking the entire equipment staff, Matt Castle, when he is, in my opinion, I don't think he did this with malicious intent, but he is taking an indirect shot at Case Keenum by saying if Bradford stays healthy in 2017, in Kyle's opinion, they win a Super Bowl. Like, this is all well constructed, and he has given thought, and he has praised a lot of folks, and he has dissed a few. But to leave Kirk out is to diss Kirk. And I guess my question is why? But I am not going, there's no way that I am naive enough to sit here and say, if Kyle had this to do again, he would have included Kirk.
It's very, very intentional to me. It's not something that you don't just forget about the guy that threw you the football for 3 years and threw you touchdown passes that you're going to remember for the rest of your career, right? Like it's a very intentional thing. The other thing I found interesting about this was Kirk Cousins retweeted the article. So Rudolph put out the article on Twitter yesterday afternoon, and it was Vikings fan. I don't have it in front of me, but like it was just a link to the article and like, thank you everybody, Minnesota.
Yep.
And I say Kirk's account because I don't think it was him that sent this tweet, said, A pro's pro, best hands and smartest player I've ever played with. And then there's a photo that he attached to Kirk's account of Kyle Rudolph making that catch in the corner of the end zone against the Saints in the playoffs. And then in parentheses, it says photo credit Associated Press.
Because
And
Kirk's
I'm
very
sorry, but
aware
like
of credits.
Kirk's got a lot of things going on in his life. I don't think he's thinking about like journalistic integrity. I'm gonna take a photo off the internet. I'm gonna credit the Associated Press. So clearly a handler. And I think my question there is, if you knew that one of your closest teammates, and I'm not pretending that they're friends, and I'm not saying they hang out the field. I don't know what their relationship dynamic is, but clearly, like, Rudolph didn't think enough of it to mention him in 2,000 words in this article.
Right.
And if you knew that one of your closest coworkers omitted you from a 2,000-word ode where he mentioned all kinds of other people, would you knowingly retweet that article and praise him? Like, I actually think if Kirk read through that and saw the snub and still said, let's retweet it and give him some love, then you know what? I actually think that's a great move by Kirk. He's rising above
Then he's Matt
a
Castle,
snub.
the greatest guy of all time.
Or did he not know that there was a snub and his team just obliviously retweeted this thing? I want to know more about that dynamic.
It's door two, right? It's got to be door two.
That it's more of an oblivious retweet?
Absolutely.
Yeah. I
mean, they literally went to the AP service, pulled a photo, and credited them, which is fine. But I mean, that is we should do this. Being oblivious to the fact that Kyle had snubbed their client. And you know what?
So I'm being called a muckraker by people on Twitter right now for pointing this out.
Hold on.
For being negative. For,
a muckraker
for
is
stirring the pot.
By the way, congratulations.
Great Pokemon, muck.
That is a great term. Muckraker that should make your day.
But are we just stirring the pot with this? Like, no one else is talking about this because it's kind of uncomfortable, right? It's like, oh man, everyone loves Rudy. Well, a lot of people love Kirk. Why didn't he include Kirk's name?
Do you really think for 1 second?
Something.
Yes. Do you really think for 1 second that he accidentally this is a guy who is calculated in Kyle, intelligent, smart, had a big hand in a 2,000 word, I'll say the word again, opus, and left out his quarterback.
Mm-hmm.
And he left out Ponder too. No, it's done on purpose. It's done on purpose. And I don't understand if people don't like us talking about this. Why? Because we should ignore it? Like what's the reason? This is why sports fans live. Like we live for this. We live for trying to figure things out.
I need to know more about why this relationship isn't on the level of including his name in a 2,000-word open.
But you tell me this, guys. What is the reason? If our stance should be, this doesn't help the team. Who cares? Why should we think that?
Yeah, well, we're not here to like cover up for the team.
No,
we're here.
I'm with you.
We want this team to win a Super Bowl before we die. That's the mission statement of this show. And if the quarterback doesn't have the full attention and the full collaboration of the people that he plays with, that matters. Like Kyle Rudolph is a leader in that locker room.
Well, what does this say about Kyle too? Like this says things about lots of people potentially, right?
It's interesting. I don't know. We're probably never going to get the full story, but it's interesting. Judd, any more thoughts on this, or do you want to get to your pecking order of the top 5 tight ends in Vikings history?
My last thought on this is very, very simple. Embrace the juicy. Ladies and gentlemen, embrace the juicy. This is juicy. Okay? Like, let's not.
By the way, that's muck. That's Phil Mackey causing up a muck.
I like the muck. Muck raker.
This is literally a Pokemon named Muck. He's poison heavy. So he's a poison heavy Pokemon. He likes to poison his opponents, and that's Phil Mackey.
That's me.
Oh, no. Muckraker, though, is an old school term, you guys. It's a fantastic term. In fact, I'm going to Google it right now. Muckraker. Let's see what definition is officially. Muckraker. Muckraker. They were reformed-minded journalists in the progressive era in the U.S. from the 1890s to the 1920s who exposed established institutions and leaders, according to Wikipedia, as corrupt.
Okay. As corrupt. Got it.
Muckraker. Phil Mackey.
So just real quick, because I'm responding to tweets while we do this too. It's very disrespectful. We're doing a show and I'm responding to tweets, but
actually it's not at all. I just did the same thing.
So at Street History says, "Well, it's just like LeBron returning to Cleveland and writing that letter for the Players Tribune or SI and not mentioning Andrew Wiggins. It's not like that. LeBron James and Andrew Wiggins never played together.
It's Kyrie.
Well, this is when he left the Heat to come play with Kyrie.
But I'm saying Kyle and Kirk is
it's like if
LeBron and Kyrie.
That's fair. If Kyrie leaves, and I mean, Kyrie did diss LeBron a couple times
And he dissed
on
him,
the
yeah.
way out.
But guess what? It got talked about
obvious.
a ton.
Yeah. So anyhow, all right, that's juicy. Come at us in the YouTube comment sections if you think we're just being cynical and negative.
Yeah, muckraker.
Maybe we're just muckrakers.
All right. Yes,
All right,
I got
let's
my
fire
top
up
5.
a pecking order here to wrap the show. Judd Zolgad's top 5 tight ends in Vikings history. We'll see if there's another snub here.
Go.
See if Rudy makes your top 5.
Rudy's going to make my top 5. I got news for you. I'll spoil that part. All right. My top 5, working backwards. You know what I'm going to start with? I'm going to start with number 6. So I'm going to start with the guy that just missed this list. And he was a great player, but unfortunately, injuries shortened his career, and he had one great year. But I think he had knee problems. Our friend, former Vikings broadcaster, Joe Sensor, who, by the way, had 79 receptions in 1981.
Yeah, that's a big time number back then.
Receptions.
Yeah.
Big time.
And played in 49 games, but he is just off the list because he didn't have the necessary longevity to make my top 5. Number 5, our guy, let it all hang out on occasion, Visanthe Shenko. 5 years as a Viking,
Wow.
a very disappointing first year, and then began to come around. And in 2009 with Brett Favre was absolutely great. 208 receptions, 2,424 yards, and 24 touchdowns in 80 games. He is number 5. Number 4, going old school to a guy that played in 131 games over 11 years with the Vikings, Stu Voigt. 177 receptions, 1,919 yards, 17 touchdowns. Old school. Stu Voigt is number 4. Number 3, you can't quantify him necessarily with statistics, but you can with the fact that he played 13 years and he played in 181 games. And he was, as they like to say, a load, but he was a great blocker and caught some passes. Jimmy Kleinsasser.
Oh, yeah.
192 catches, 1,688 yards. The incredible thing is, boys, 13 years, right? So long time. 6 touchdown catches.
Yeah, he
Because
wasn't.
he just didn't catch touchdowns.
Yeah, he was an unheralded, just grinder behind the scenes player. Yeah.
So Kleinsasser, Voigt, and Shenko are 3, 4, and 5. And number 2 on the list, he's not number 1, is Kyle Rudolph.
It's fair.
10 years, 453 catches, 4,488 yards, 48 touchdowns, 140 games played. But he is number 2 because number 1 on the list is Steve Jordan, 13 years. He's 6th on the Vikings all-time pass catching list. And Kyle, by the way, is 10th. Jordan caught 498 passes over 13 years for 6,307 yards and 28 touchdowns in 176 games. I don't think it's a debate. I think it's Jordan, Kyle, and then I've got, again, 3, 4, and 5, Jim Kleinsasser, Stu Voigt, and Visanthe Shenko.
No love for
with
Jermaine
Sensor
Wiggins?
just off the list.
Yeah, what the heck?
I love Jermaine, but longevity was not his friend as a Viking.
No love for Tyler Gronklin.
Well, he might make it still.
The hurdle over
He-
Al Harris
He might make it still, right?
on Christmas Eve is worth him getting on there a little.
Jermaine Wiggins?
Yes.
He was so fun to cover, man. He was great. But no. But I think that Kyle is I think Kyle, in fairness, is a very solid number 2 on this list.
Yep, that's fair. He's a very good Vikings player, very good 10-year career.
And you guys
a
were right.
Very good at
Ring of
snubbing
Honor
Kirk
guy.
Cousins in his Players
Ring of
Tribune.
Honor guy. I think he gets in.
Yep. All right, that's a wrap on today's episode of Purple Daily with Mackie and Judd, Declan. We'll see you guys tomorrow.